What's up, humans? Luke Rain here with episode 47 of the Human Music Podcast. This Midi pod is insane. In today's episode, we take a minute to check in with each other, asking the all-important question, how you doing? We also get into batching studio tasks, pre-making sample loops, modular synth racks, the invention of the Cesar salad, and how this MIDI pack is insane. Please support our sponsors, including Producer Dojo's new Dojo Max membership, where you can get private monthly lessons from professional producer coaches, unlimited track feedback, and the weekly download archive. It's the best value the Producer Dojo has to offer. Next, guest practices, where you can learn from Seth Drake at the Approach Institute. He is the best engineer we know. Your first class is free. I've been diving lately into his sections on stereo imaging, and I am learning so much. Finally, Gvngaroo Records music distribution, where you can get unlimited uploads for under $10 from the good people over at Bounce Gang. All right, y'all, let's get into the episode. Hello, people of Earth. This is Tesko with Rip Kenny and Trap Jesus, and you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. Woo! Human Music Podcast. I like it.
All right, yeah, let's talk about kind of what we've been up to, new breakthroughs, recent thoughts.
Yeah, all right.
Cool.
All right, I'll fucking rock it. My flubby clap. I put that, by the way, I don't know if y'all remember from the fucking Munchie episode, the fucking weird flubby clap. I put that on the end of the episode.
Good. Nice.
Yeah. First time we ever had an outro to our outro, but I'm happy about it. It was really funny. I could finally listen to the Zoom audio and be like, oh my God, that did sound like ass. All you guys shit sounded so crispy. And mine's like,
that should be our April Fool's freebie Friday. If it lands on the same day, is the flubby clap.
Oh my God.
Oh man, okay.
Regardless, be like, freebie Friday comes early because it's April 1st. Everyone loves April and spring.
April Fool's Day is a Thursday, so it's freebie Friday, guy. Flubby claps.
No. Pristine hi-fi claps, and then it's just huh,
sounds like a giraffe is dying over there.
Dude, I'd have to use those in a non-ironic context if we actually made that pack. It'd just be a rite of passage as a veteran producer like we all are at this point. You get to that point where you need shit samples, but tastefully shit, like chef's kiss.
It's like a shit sandwich, but just minus the bread. We're watching our carbs.
But like Wolfgang Puck's shit sandwich.
I mean, they spiced that turd. It's a spicy turd.
The spice.
Nice, rolled in herb crusted, pan seared.
That's Tom Brady's the highest quality diet you could possibly have, refined into a turd. From Tom Brady.
I don't know if y'all saw that episode of South Park.
Of course. I've seen every episode of South Park.
Good. Too many of the people I hang with have not seen that many episodes of South Park, so my references go right over there.
Reference away, but I know all of them.
All right. Well, I feel like all this is on the podcast now. So what's up, humans?
Hey,
You just came in mid-random rant, and we were just discussing that that's what we're going to do this episode. We've had so many dope interviews where we really specifically got into people's backstories and what they're doing. We had a dope Q&A episode last week where the people on Dojo TV just gave us amazing questions. We could deep dive on the answers. And today, we're just going to ask the most important question. How y'all doing? So, guys, how y'all doing? We've been talking about other stuff so much. let's check in with each other. It's important.
Sharing is caring, you know.
Yeah, man.
As they say.
So let's start with you, Evan. How's that album coming? I know we were.
That's every artist's favorite question.
Cue existential crisis.
I'm actually happy to report that I haven't had like a massive bout of writer's block since saying that I was going to write an album and taking some time off other commitments. I will just go ahead and say on the air, the album's going to take longer than I thought. And if you're a prospective student of the dojo, I hate to say it, but you're probably going to wait like 2 more months before I jump back into lessons. We're being honest here. We're just talking about how we're doing, and that's real. The album's taking longer, obviously. But what I realized, I was like, oh, I'm going to write the album in winter, 1 season. Most people take like years to write an album. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot about that. But that being said, yeah, I have like 2 or 3 more songs left to like write. I have actually started an idea for the first song of the album today, which I'm liking. Started said song on my new EuroRack setup. Pretty jazzed up about it. Mostly because it's just like a different way of working. Like, you know, we always talk about on this podcast how like your sound is like a derivative in part of like your instinct, like what moves you make. Like you have like these racks that has like a parallel chorus and hyperdimension distorted, and like, you know, you put that rack on enough things, it starts to sound like the same textures and stuff, right? And it's just fun to work in a very different way and like learn and like be a beginner at something that like is also really fun and that I have like the background knowledge in, but I don't know like where to plug things in. So yeah, it's real fun. It is definitely all in thanks to the boy, Aaron Wolfstacks. Big up if you're listening. He sent me his old EuroRack case and a few small modules, and my savings account fucking hates you, but my music like left brain absolutely loves you, loves the shit out of you. So thank you, Aaron, if you're listening. But the cool thing about EuroRack is that the modules, I don't know if it's just because of like COVID or what, I'm just getting into it now, but like they don't lose value somehow. Like I've been buying used modules, and they're like all in pristine condition because like what are you gonna fucking break on it? You're just turning knobs and plugging it in. It's like you're not like, the worst you're gonna do is like what they call rack rash, which is like where you screw the thing into the rack and there's like some of the paint came off like the corner of the thing. But then like the new module, say the new module is $300, you can find it used for $280. And you don't find it used for any less than $280. It's like, what the fuck? And I've actually bought a few from dudes in Europe that were offering free shipping. I don't know if they knew I was in the US or didn't think people would buy it, but like bought something in Europe with free shipping for $260 that I could turn around and sell for $280 today in a heartbeat. Some of these things, there's only like one used that you could find from like one person. Like one pops up like every week or two. So there's like this kind of cool, like niche community of like fucking buying and selling and trading. All of that to say, although it is an investment, it's one that I'm confident I can like, you know, sell stuff that I don't like and trade pieces out and not lose money on it. So, yeah, I rambled a good bit there, but that's, you know, how I'm doing. Album's going good. EuroRack is fun. How about you, Nicola?
I learned about rack rash.
Yeah,
yes.
Me too.
Yes.
Cool.
Do you know about VCAs? Do you know about why everyone needs more VCAs?
I could try to guess what that acronym stands for.
What I've learned is that everyone says you need more VCAs, but everyone that does modular makes shitty blips and bloops music with shitty drums and like ambient stuff. And you actually, hot take here for anyone that has any idea about EuroRack, you don't need a bunch of VCAs if you're doing Mudpie stuff for bass music, melodic stuff, you don't need VCAs.
So pause. Do you know what the acronym is? Because I high key, hard, whatever, don't know.
Yes,
I also hard key don't know.
It's
hard key, have no idea.
Voltage controlled amplifier. So it's essentially a volume knob that has a CV. Okay, so CV is control voltage.
I do know that one.
Yeah, so it like essentially tells the thing what to do with the volume knob, right? So if you have like an ADSR module that like creates, your envelope, and you run that into your VCA, and then for the control voltage, and then you run the sound into the input, and then run the output to your DAW, then that basically control voltage will tell the amplitude to do the envelope when it's triggered. It's basically just volume shaping for things. But it's very, very boring, to be honest. Most of the cool stuff in Modular is like things that you can't do in the digital world. For instance, I have this module called Portal. I'm sure you guys have noticed it. My voice keeps kind of fading out a little bit because I keep turning to the right to look at the fucking thing. But I have this thing called Portal, which is a module that's a harmonic distortion unit, which is like wave wrapping instead of wave shaping. So essentially, instead of a wave shaper or wave folder, which basically like doubles the peaks and valleys of the individual wave table as it cycles through, it instead loops it back through to the start to be clipped again, and you can do it like up to 50 times. So it's basically just like a ridiculously powerful, like a ridiculously intense distortion, which me,
hey.
We like that. And so it's stuff like that. Like you can't buy a digital distortion unit that does that. Or like just the way that you like sequence like random probability notes and scales and stuff. It just generates a lot of stuff that I would never, ever think to generate or know how to generate in a computer. So it's just like, there'll be some I'm just getting into it. I only have like 2 things that I've made from it that I really like so far, but
cool. Are you running that pedal board there into the Modular, or is that part of your guitar setup?
Yeah, so actually one of the modules I got for the EuroRack is it's a VCA envelope generator with a contact microphone in it, but you can plug your guitar into it and get it up to modular levels as well. Modular runs at like 20 dBs higher than what you would plug your guitar into your DI for. It's kind of strange. It's something I've had to like work through and figure out how to like pad the volume properly, but
to work at line level instead of instrument level.
Well, I think line level is instrument level, and then basically Modular works at like 0 dB and line level is like -20. I'm
okay.
Not sure, but in my experience so far, that seems to be consistent with the small amount of research I've been able to achieve. But all of that to say, I have a unit that I can plug my guitar into and like affect the incoming guitar signal as well as run it through all the distortion units and effects and stuff. And the guitar pedal board that is on a keyboard slider under it is intended to be used with the Modular rig. Although I've just been noodling with the Modular stuff so far. I haven't even done too much guitar stuff with it. There's just so many things, such a world of opportunity to try. It's it's fun.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to the Mudpies. Feel free to email me any of those Mudpies.
It's funny. I actually made a freebie Friday out of Modular stuff. I just have to finish processing and export it and get it to you guys.
Get on the email list, y'all. Is that thehumanmusicpodcast.com/freebie Friday, I believe?
I think it's freebiefriday.thehumanmusicpodcast.com.
That is actually probably more accurate.
Yeah. That's awesome. The one, and link in the description. You know what it is.
Yeah. It's going to be right down there below. But as far as levels of different things, turns out mic level is the lowest level, then instrument level, and then line level is higher. And like that's why you need preamps to get those various signals up to line level.
Man, this is all news to me.
And then I'm Googling line level versus modular level. Significantly higher than line level, so you'll need something to boost your signals on the way in and to attenuate them on the way out. All right.
And also, fun fact, you need a interface that is DC coupled to be able to run modular back into your DAW, because a lot of the units and modules in EuroRack essentially will offset the DC. DC offset is like if your waveform starts at 0, goes up and down to 1 and -1, it like moves it up. So like it would go up to like 1.5, because modular works between -12 and 12 volts rather than 1. So you need an interface that is able to like adjust for that. Otherwise, you're going to like fry your shit. Luckily, the UID Apollo that I have is already DC coupled, like the fantastic piece of gear that it is. And so I didn't have to fuck with that. But yeah.
Good to know. Yeah, there's definitely, it can be one of those rabbit hole things in and of itself, but like many things, you think, oh, I'll just get this one piece of gear, and then, oh, wait, now I need that special cable, and oh shit, I need that interface, and oh my God, I'm going to need to buy a whole new desk to put this on because I'm out of room.
I literally did. I went on Facebook Marketplace, and luckily I found one for $50 that's matches relatively close to my computer desk, so it all looks choice. But
yeah, man, and I like how it's all, you can see the corner of all that cool gear. It makes your studio look that much more official.
Yeah, it does. And there's space for small plants from the thrift store. So that's it's a nice look for the studio.
Plants.
They're real. They're so real. They're so real. Look at that orchid right there. I water that thing every fucking day.
I think that would also kill an orchid.
Case in point,
this one
I
has
don't.
superior orchid genetics.
Yeah. Exactly. So enough about me. Jesus Christ. Nicola, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm moving. So, that's been interesting, getting rid of a lot of stuff, slowly seeing the place open up.
You getting rid of those CDJs?
I'll
give you $10 for them.
Deal.
I'll give you $10.50.
I'll even pay shipping.
Okay, I was gonna say you got to pay shipping though, because
100%.
$10 isn't even gonna cover the shipping. But yeah, man, it's been cool. Been writing some tunes, been doing a lot of guitar stuff. So like learning inversions across the neck. And I've been working with a really awesome player, Charlie Robbins. He's got his own project called Syncato and plays for a band called Artificial Language. They're kind of, he's like kind of in the vein of the Human Abstract, if anybody's familiar with them, kind of like the classical-y sounding stuff. It's really cool, but I've been working with him on expanding my guitar vocabulary and, just learning how to like traverse the neck in cool ways. So I've been recording like a bunch of loops. And one thing, I've been doing a lot lately is just recording a shit ton of melody loops and taking my time to like carefully craft those. And that's something that's come up in a few sessions actually in the last month. Cause, I talk about that and people have asked me about it and have come to me talking about timers and stuff and asking how to like optimize that and make it more efficient. And I feel like making those loops for yourself, it really helps if you understand like some basic theory, I would say, so that you can like practice certain chord progressions and like kind of know what you're doing and know how to place your bass notes. But if you're comfortable with harmony enough to the point where you can make like basic triads and you know what notes you're choosing and all that, then just having all these parts consolidated down to audio that already work together has been so next level for writing. Like, highly suggest everybody to do that. I guess if I had to give, one little gem off kind of what I learned.
Yeah. And if you can't play guitar like the virtuoso that Nicola is, you can still write MIDI progressions and just save those.
Or hire your boy, link in the description.
Yeah, there you go. Also, don't do your own MIDIs. Just hire Nicola to get some loops for you.
Or you can get that MIDI pack that is insane.
MIDI pack is insane.
If you haven't heard that ad, how are you hearing this podcast? Are you listening? Insane. Are you behind me? What's going on? Because that shit is everywhere.
Do you want a beautiful melody? I got you. You want a somber melody? I got you. I'm wearing a suit because I got you.
That and the drip plugin have taken over the producer community.
Yeah, dude, definitely see
2
both
clicks
of those
and it's
a lot.
awesome.
I mean, I feel like if you just buy both of those things, you're pretty much set as a producer. You got all the melodies and chord progressions you'll ever need. You click your one VST apparently 2 times, and you're set.
You just use the default preset and then put drip on it, and every sound is perfect. 2 clicks.
Dude, we should have chose a different profession. We're gonna be like obsolete.
Actually, I'm pretty sure because I don't have the MIDI pack or drip that I'm not a producer.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah.
I think your assumption is insane.
Man,
no hate to either of those folks who made those.
No, yeah, no,
your ads are annoying.
We're mostly making fun of the frequency with which your ads hit us on YouTube.
But
I literally was joking about that with
the
dude the other night, and then I got off of the thing and continued watching the YouTube video. I was halfway through an Andrew Huang video, and I stopped for an ad break, and it was this MIDI pack is insane. And I had to text the student right away, oh my god, it already hit me. He's they're listening, man. Shouts out to Snowbot. What's up, Will?
That's funny, man. Yeah, those are everywhere. But if you don't buy the insane MIDI pack or hire me, then make your own shit and do a session. We talk about batch work a lot, right? I think for people, especially if you're struggling to write within a specific time frame, or you're just trying to make the most out of your time, if it's very fragmented, right? And you can't set aside hours, back to back, in a session, just do a session where all you focus on is the chords, melodies, and bass, and just get really comfortable writing those and bounce out a bunch of combinations for yourself. And you could either do individual stems or just, play the melody and then have all the sounds back to back. If you build up a library of that, I would say, get yourself to a point where you could do 3 to 5 of those, really good ones a session, and then when you have an hour or 2 here or there, but you're not particularly inspired, just go off with all the different vibes, all the different themes that you're feeling, and pick the best when you're inspired. And you the track's already done. Each of those melodies is a whole fucking song right there. Just needs a top
2 clicks and it's done.
2 clicks and just needs a top line and a drip plugin. You're set.
Yeah, bro. No, I feel you, man. That's a really good idea. Whether you're, I think that's a great way to use the proverbial nighttime session where it's all right, I don't have enough time to really sit down all day for 8 hours and make sure I bang out the whole first draft of the song, but I want to get something done. Yeah, just make it your goal to just put out those loops, see what few things you can get that fit together that can be a spark for later. And the coolest thing is they don't even have to be a spark for you to be successful. They can be a spark for somebody else. I've got co-production credits on quite a few records because I just made, who's clicking a pin?
This is my bad, man.
What's up, man?
Just playing with my little string thing.
Oh, I got you, bro. No worries. It's all good. But yeah, so I've got co-production on a few different records just because I had bounced out those exact kind of sets of 3 or 4 different loops that all fit together in the same key and tempo. and somebody was like, yo, we should totally collab. And I was like, here's a zip of a few ideas. And then, next thing you know, a couple of months later, you're like, yo, the song's coming out. How much percent do you want? Let's have a discussion. It's like, oh, sweet. All right. I'm going to get my ASCAP check is going to grow minutely on the next quarter.
It's still something.
That's what I'm saying though. Like the more records you're on, the more, streaming and royalty income you're going to have. So get out there and then, make those packs like with the express intent to collab with people.
Totally. And for anybody that's been following and knows about Hyperdrive, which is the awesome songwriting machine we have coming soon, man, the song starters in there are awesome. Like I was just flipping through that folder, like messing around with some of them. And like, I think, especially for people that are still growing their library, which I mean is always an ongoing process, or you don't know where to start with these melody ideas, like something like the song starter kit in Hyperdrive is like perfect for that. And so, I just think that's such a game-changing aspect of production, and it saves you so much CPU. You can write like these really strong tracks that, are like relatively easy on the CPU, and do even more crazier shit on top if you want. Like, I just feel like there's so much potential there, and they always take me out of any rut that I might be in, and like ultimate creative freedom if you send it to somebody for collabs. So yeah, anyway, that's my little tidbit on sort of where my head's been at with these melodies, just in my own work and talking to people in sessions. But man, that's huge. If for the people that don't do that, try implement that.
Yeah. Most of the song starters come with Midi. That is insane. And also exactly what I use. Plus, I use the 6 serum patches that 2 well-dressed, good-looking gentlemen on this call with me made. These 2 guys made some 6 serum patches, and I just got to play a bunch of cool melodies with them. So I
still open up those serum patches like every time I like go to grab a sound. I'm like, oh yeah, we have all of these that are all fucking fire. They're insane. But the melody loop thing, like you're so right, Nicola. Like the easiest way to come up with something cool is to start with something that you like and then just iterate on it. Like even if you're like, I don't want to use a melody loop from someone, like I get that. Like I wouldn't do that either. But like you can pull that up and chop it up and make it your own or pitch it weird or whatever. And it's like it's a starting place from which you can generate ideas that sound good really quickly. And then if you're really like, I don't want to use the sound of the melody loop that came with it, like generate the idea for the melody by iterating on that thing and then play that new melody with a patch that you made or patch that's in the pack or whatever, so that it's more you, right? I think a lot of people shy away from using that type of thing from an inspirational standpoint because they might get attached to it and would leave it in the project, or B, don't think to like just replace it with something else that could serve you better. But there's a lot of benefit to using something that can spark that creativity and inspiration instantly rather than blank slating everything, making a new patch from scratch every time. Like you're going to take longer than I do to write a rough draft, and that is a long time.
Amen, dude. And on the point where we talked about batching and stuff, like the really awesome part about building these melodies is that once you get in the groove of it, you can do things relatively quickly. Like you can bang one out, like depending on how complex you're going, obviously, like it could take up to an hour, but like if it's 20 to 30 minutes per melody, and each of these will significantly make your life easier for a song, right? You're batching this work. You're going to get so good at writing chord progressions and leads and bass lines And all of these words, you know, for the people that aren't as comfortable with theory, all these words you keep hearing, like inversions and leading tones and all of these things, you will make amazing breakthroughs on these ideas the more you do, you know, harmonic melodic work back to back to back to back to back. When you do a session where you do 5 melodies back to back, you have so many more breakthroughs than if you were to split that over 5 tracks, because maybe the first melody, all you do is just like a 1-4-1-4 progression and you write on top of that. And maybe you don't know what notes you're choosing for the melody, right? And then the second time, maybe you do a 1-6-4, right? You add in a new chord. And the time after that, it's a 1-6-4-5, and maybe your voice leading got better, right? And then maybe after that, you do some leading notes in the bass line, and you can already see 5th iteration. If we add one more thing, it's like, how far has that already come just by adding one thing? That's just one session right there. And now if you come back and you're doing this for a week or a couple days, I find personally, I tend to like do batches of couple days where I just like in 3-4 days write out like 20 melodies, roughly 15 to 20, let's say, on the conservative side. And
you're
then
the jingle king, dude.
But the thing is, from 20 to 30 goes by so much faster than from 1 to 10. So it's kind of misleading. When you're in that groove and you're batching your work and you're just going back to back to back to back, then I already know 10 things that just worked. So the 11th is way easier. Versus like, yeah, the first, I know my theory, I know stuff that's worked in the past, whatever. But like when you get in that groove of like, oh, I want this type of sound, I know exactly which VST. Oh, I want this kind of shimmer. I want this VST. I want, arcade for a cool vocal thing. I want this. I want that. Like all these little things that you can really now dive into the rabbit hole of that nuance. Like maybe on the 4th melody, you start doing tape stops here and there. And then by the 7th melody, you've like found out this crazy new thing that you didn't even know you could do with a tape stop. And maybe that now becomes like a fundamental part of your sound or something that you just love to do. And like without those small breakthroughs, which I would argue you wouldn't have, at least not as often, if you didn't batch your melodies, like those can become really fundamental. And by the end of your little like melody making binge of those few days, like you learn a fuck ton and then you're set for songs. But yeah, I guess rant over there. That's just like a bit I wanted to like extend on there.
I feel you though, man, because like, I mean, when I was doing those song starters, those loops for, you know, for the hyperdrive pack, like, you know, started off, you know, okay, cool. Yeah. I'm making a loop here, making a loop there. But then I was like, I knew this is all I'm doing tonight and tomorrow night. Like I've blocked out my time just to do this. I don't have to stop and shift and be like, all right, now I got to think of a drum groove. And now I got to think of what the drop's going to be. And now I got to think about rhythmic escalation. And then I got to write a breakdown. And then, you know, it's like none of that. It's just, okay, cool. Oh, this is a patch I really like. Oh, here's a really cool melody. And then here's like a bunch of iterations on that melody so that whoever's using this can like, you know, have a lot of material to work with. Or like when I was doing the song starter build up ones, it was like, okay, cool. Like, let me get a chord progression in place. Let me double that chord progression and change the, you know, after a while you start to get into a rhythm like, oh yeah, every time I'm going to change the second chord progression a little bit, kind of like this and like that. And then I'm going to, you know, grab these and get an arpeggio and get an arpeggiator on another sound and make an arpeggio that fits those chords perfectly. And then, you know, like you start to, by the time, like you said, by the time you're past like 10 of them, you got a pattern down in a process and then I'll flatten it and reverse the reverb tail at the end and have it lead in and crossfade it in. So when that sound comes in at 8 bars, it's not coming out of note. And you start to get these little things that keep making it better and better as you go. And then you listen to the first couple you did and you're like, I'm going to delete those ones and do 3 more at the end that are better than those ones. And yeah, you can really get into it and let, you know, this batching batching ideas, it works with so many things, like whether, you really want to get good at doing timer beats, or you really want to get good at, making a template. You can make a shit ton of rack instruments and put them all in a template at once, or, do a bunch of Mudpies in a row, where you're just like, all right, this week is all about just generating a bunch of sounds. Like if you make one Mudpie a month, you're not really going to get that much better at making Mudpies. So the times when I make like 10 Mudpies in a row over a few days, like those, like my second half of those 10 Mudpies are significantly better than the first half. And I get way more sounds. I'm like, oh, right, I should be doing like, more LFOs and more pitch modulation so that I get more sweeps and movement on these, because that first one was like one note over and over and everything's just a fucking F, and who cares? I'm tired of this static F that just has different kinds of distortion on it. What the fuck kind of song am I supposed to write with that?
Right. Man, yeah, that makes me think of my old job where I was building like car parts and shit. Because I think about how there was like the main production facility, then you have these smaller production facilities which would build like doors and stuff like that, right? And then like ship some pre-built parts already to the main plant where everything's put together. I'm just picturing the fucking chaos that would ensue at that main plant if there's like at that part in the line where they're supposed to put the doors on and one just comes with like all the fucking parts, and it's like, you got to assemble the door and put it on now. And I think a lot of people approach their writing process that way all the time. I'm not saying you can't do that. Some days I'm sure those people roll up to work and they're like, I am particularly inspired to put a door together. But for the most part, when you're in creation mode, certain criteria needs to get met, right? You need to have some sort of melodic idea that's evolving, needs to lead to some sort of climax, chorus, drop, whatever, and potentially have a bridge section. When you have a melody and you just bounce out, like, let's say 4 different variations or intensity levels or whatever on that, you basically have all of the variation you need for like at least a minute and a half of your song. And then if you just duplicate that over and make variations in the second half, you have a sufficiently interesting 3-minute song, which is kind of the standard. And then you're not focused on, like you said, Luke, you're not focused on all these like other things besides the task at hand. You don't need to think about harmony. You don't need to think about layering. You don't need to think about these 15 EQ moves across these channels that you would have had to make to fit everything together. It's like, no, all of that is already skipped. Like you hit a checkpoint in your favorite game or whatever, and now you can replay the fucking water level from halfway through because it has that cool part that on it that you like or whatever, right? Like you get all of the fun aspect from just the writing portion of it or the composition, and you skip all of the like harmony and processing work and all of that stuff. And not only is your computer CPU now, or your computer RAM, more free now to take on more tasks, but your mental RAM isn't worn down by making all these choices in the moment. Like I can just hop in now, and if I'm writing like a song with the chorus, I have everything I need and I just put drums on. Or if I'm writing a bass music banger, I know that literally I can drag in a melody loop, drag it out, get, some basic drums going, and like it's drop writing time already within a matter of like 10, 15 minutes. And I can really ride that creative wave and not get caught down in, all the other aspects of it.
Yeah. And that melody comes with so many of the pieces that you might have had to decide. It's already got a tempo. It's already got a key. It's already got a groove.
Yeah.
Like, does it have a shuffle or not? Is it in F minor or G minor? Is it at 140 or 160? You're like, man, what should I write my song at? Nope. It's 140 in G with a shuffle. That is exactly what you're doing. Like 3 major decisions already made for you. Run with it.
Amen.
So how are you doing, Luke? What's good with you?
Doing pretty good. Life is beautiful. Up here in the cold north, It's not as cold as Tesco's North, or as north as Tesco's North, but
this north has been pretty warm
or
lately.
as cold as Rip Kinney, slightly south of me. But it's been pretty nice. The weather's been good. The days are getting longer again, so that's feeling nice. Getting, I still sit in this windowless room more often than not, but when I do walk outside before 6 p.m., it's I see the sun sometimes, so that's nice.
Yay!
That's always got
vitamin D.
Definitely still fairly pale, but hey, we don't get a lot of that sunlight as producers or people that live in Seattle. So, double fucked on that one. But
True.
But past that, I know it was like February, so a lot of people were doing the February album writing month. Like, gotta write all these new songs. And while I did write a few new songs in February, my focus was much more on, like, to give you some context, last February, I wrote 16 or 18 timer beats. I was really into doing timer beats at the time. And I wrote all these cool timer beats and finished almost none of them and forgot about them. In fact, I didn't even know where that folder was on my computer until like February 20th. And I found one and actually wrote a song out of it this year. But, but then, so this year, instead of doing that, I decided, let me go really hard on iterating and to finish more tracks. And so I went really hard in the track feedback section at Producer Dojo, just sending in tons of tracks. Like, at one point, I had 4 tracks in with Alexandra alone. And then also sending some to Cryptochronic and some over to Moonsplatter. So I'm just doing track after track in there. I'm really just working on those details and iterations to really get some of that high level feedback to get that, that final 5 or 10% of the track before it's release ready. Because I want to release a lot of music this year. I want to finish an EP and I want to have a track every single month. I got to decide what my March track is and drop that into the distro chain over at Gvngaroo Records. What's up? BounceGang.com, GVNG. Description down below. But past that, I've been settling nicely into my role as editor of the Bounce Gang blog. So I've been getting a bunch of really dope articles. Just throw out bouncegang.com again. A lot of really cool articles that I've been learning a ton about. I know a couple weeks ago on the Munchie episode, we talked about the publishing stuff that I'm learning from Hayden THC. So there's a ton of really cool stuff there, 4 or actually 5 or 6 articles now that deep dive into different aspects of publishing and music money. Basically it's how does music money work and how do you get yours? And so feeling a lot stronger in my understanding of that, which has me feeling a lot more empowered. And then they got these really cool Tech Tuesday articles that are Lotta Day, one of our writers and generally awesome people and awesome songwriters, is putting together. So I've been learning about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which is a blockchain way to kind of make one of a kind digital art that folks are getting really excited about, and that market's starting to blow up right now. I know my dude Levitate, who's a really dope bass DJ from out here in Seattle, who's recently moved to LA. He's been doing well selling some of his really cool 3D art renders that he makes all his own music videos and all the graphics for his shows. So he's
ridiculous. He's the reason I know what an NFT is.
Yeah, me too.
He's the first person I saw that was selling one. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I hit him up on Twitter. I was like, yo, man, how you been? He's dope, man. I just sold some NFTs and now I'm figuring out what I want to do next. Okay, dope. Congrats. What's an NFT? He took time to explain it to me on DMs. Okay, yeah, that's dope, bro. But yeah, so learning about that kind of stuff and enjoying my role over there as editor. It's and then finally, we were talking about batching. I've been getting, because there's this new cipher on at the dojo right now about how you want to use granular synthesis. Shouts out to Dwelm, who's curating that cipher. The theme is granular synthesis, and that's something I remember I got really excited about when Reason first introduced a granular synthesizer called Grain, and then I actually didn't really take the time to deep dive into that. But luckily, shouts out to Snowbot, who I mentioned earlier, because of that MIDI pack being insane. He asked me on our session last month, like to dive into that Grain sampler with him. I had a little more experience than he did, but just diving into it and showing him what I knew, and then also doing some experimenting with like the mod matrix and connecting pieces of it to other pieces of it, came up with some really trippy Mudpies on the spot on the lesson, and was like, oh man, like this is really fun. And then Cryptochronica on Dojo TV, for anybody that's got that Dojo TV on demand as part of their Dojo package, he did a really cool class on granular synthesis, like deep diving into all these cool ways to do it inside of Ableton, which inspired me to jump back into Reason and see if I could recreate some of those. So I've got a few really cool Mudpies, like some packs that I put together of Mudpie one-shots for myself to write this granular cipher with, and definitely gonna put some of those out as freebie Fridays and probably sell some larger packs of granular synth one-shots. Dudes, I did I had just like a vocal pre-drop phrase, actually one of the ones from the Hyperdrive pack, which is going to have like nearly 200 vocal pre-drops in it. I just went super ham twisting knobs for it was only probably a 5-minute Mudpie, but I got like over 80 like super killer, like really trippy, like vocal texture, but like super synthetic sounding like granular, stuttery, pitchy, bendy pieces of awesomeness that I cannot wait to sprinkle in my songs.
You should link that to your boy.
Oh yeah, man! I'll definitely send it to you guys. Are quality control. I got to make sure they're as spicy as I think they are.
I bet it's pretty darn spicy.
As Rick Kenny would say, the sauce.
The soul.
But yeah, shit's been good. Shit's been really good. We're hitting like a year since quarantine started. That's a trip.
Yeah, happy Quarantine-aversary.
Yeah, I'm like exactly, as of now we're recording this, exactly 1 year from the last time I was on an airplane. It's my homie's birthday, March 9th, flying back from San Diego. Technically, we went to Tijuana and got into some shenanigans. So that was a good last blowout before. But being in Tijuana at strip clubs and cockfights and such, you knew for a fact COVID was starting to sweep the world, was a very weird fucking situation to be in. Plus, I don't drink, so being the only not drunk friend on that trip was also very interesting.
That might have been the only thing that saved you from not being patient zero.
I know, right? Looking over and seeing like some young drunk dude making out with a stripper, just being like, oh dude,
no.
Why would you do this to yourself?
No.
Dude probably built up immunity. Joke's on us. No. He gonna be ripped like Kenny.
Just to finish out the Tijuana story, my one thing that I made sure we did was went to the restaurant, Cesar's restaurant, where the Caesar salad was invented, and got the authentic Caesar salad. Oh my God, they were so good. My only regret is we didn't order 5 more of those.
Don't lie, dude. They didn't invent the Caesar salad in Tijuana.
100% they did.
No way.
I'm Googling. I have no reason or facts to say one way or the other.
Hotel and restaurant invented Caesar dressing.
Holy shit!
I don't know if you've ever been to a nice restaurant where they come and make the dressing at the table, and they crack an egg and they put the ingredients in and then toss the lettuce in it and make the everything right there at the table. This is how they did it. They had a whole cart. but they served it really weird. Instead of like we get a bowl of chopped lettuce with croutons on top of it. They had like full like crouton French bread slices with baby romaine leaves laid on top of it that were all like drenched in the sauce. So good.
Dude, you need to check your fucking facts. The Caesar salad was invented by an Italian man named Cesar Cardini
in Tijuana, Mexico in the 1920s.
Oh God, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, aren't I an asshole? Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
That's actually crazy, bro.
That's so fucked up. Because I was like, Caesar's. All right, you.
It was definitely
I always pictured Greek people,
but it was an Italian restaurant in Tijuana, Mexico. Shouts out TJ.
Oh my God.
For making the best salad dressing there is, hands down. And none of that like watery shit you get at crappy restaurants. It's like full on creamy. It's got an egg yolk in there and shit. Like a bunch of garlic. The anchovies are right up in that bitch. I'm talking real Caesar, full flavor, extra.
Caesar has Worcestershire sauce in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I make my own. I make my own. Shouts to my mom for teaching me. Although I don't make it with the egg. I'm lazy, so I just like make all of the other ingredients and then mix that down with mayonnaise.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's dope. You chop up some garlic, you get some anchovy paste in there, some Dijon mustard and some Worcestershire, and like mix that all around in a bowl. And then you mix that into some mayo, and you know, get it all nice creamy. You know, you can mix that to taste, and then you know, toss your lettuce in that. Throw a little bit of lemon on top if you want, and some fresh pepper, and of course copious amounts of whatever brand of Parmesan cheese you enjoy.
Yeah, I'm more of a lemony Caesar than an anchovy heavy Caesar. You know, you kind of get one or the other. It's either anchovy forward or lemon forward. I'm a lemon forward type of guy.
I'm the opposite. I'm about like big bold flavors. I like spicy shit. I like salty shit. I like garlic. Turns out I like anchovies. You know,
I like all that except like really spicy, really garlicky, like garlic to the point where it presents itself as spice. But
yeah,
but little fish that look like something I'd feed to my cat. I'm not really.
That's what you get the paste, bro.
I'm not paste.
Anchovy
paste. It's even more cat food friendly. I'm just not really. Not really an anchovy guy.
You're a first world kind of guy.
Do you like anchovies on pizza?
I've never actually ordered it, to tell you the truth. I bet I would, though.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
I definitely love pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, I do too. I know I'm probably going to get we're going to get some hate mail for that one, but
fuck them.
Human Music Podcast officially canceled.
Just good one. Just I got to ask because the most common in America, the most common pairing, the meat pairing with pineapple. What is it, Evan?
Canadian bacon.
Does that exist in Canada, Tesko?
No, it's just bacon.
It's actually just ham. It's literally just sliced ham.
Sliced ham.
I mean, we do have. You can buy Canadian bacon here.
They're basically saying your bacon sucks ass. There's no fat. It doesn't taste good. It's just a slice of regular ham.
First off, regular ham's pretty good.
It's a puck of ham.
No, dude.
Puck of ham. Thank you for that, bro.
it is a hockey puck of ham.
Wouldn't Canadian bacon be maple
for sure?
Flavored?
You can get maple flavor.
Can you dip your bacon in the maple syrup left over from the waffle?
Oh. Amazing.
Yeah,
see, that's the thing though. Ham normally comes like honey ham or something sweet. It's
a bit different though.
I don't like ham at all.
I'll get the fuck
not
out
a ham guy. Ham is just ham.
Go ham.
Ham is the thing that you're at a holiday dinner and you put a bunch on your plate because you think it's going to be good, and then you end up eating all of the side dishes, and the ham is the last thing on your plate. Like, fuck, I guess I'll eat this.
See, that's
but
a
you
different
want more
kind
mac
of
and
ham,
cheese.
Though.
You want more mac and cheese. You want more. What's the thing with the green beans and the
green bean casserole?
Yeah, that
green eggs and ham.
Yes, green eggs and ham. I want more green eggs and ham, said Sam I Am.
Man, it depends though. It's different than ham. Ham is way different though. I'll eat Canadian bacon before I eat ham.
Ham is the Riddim of food. It's just debase.
I like Riddim.
Shots fired.
Don't do ham like that.
Riddim goes ham, that's for sure.
Man, Riddim's just become the butt of all jokes, which is sad because it had so much potential before and just got so overplayed so quick.
Riddim is the big room house of the next 5 years since that.
Yeah.
It started cool. It was like, oh damn, like there's some like cool sounds and like, oh, this is a unique way of like I'm used, big room was like, oh, like electro is tight, and then it was like, oh wait, instead of making it so complex, let's strip it back and make it like more straightforward and big. It's like cool, like dubstep got really complex. Okay, let's make it like straightforward with like big sounds, just like one thing to listen to. Great. Certain drum beat, very straightforward drum beat. But it just got rinsed so hard that it became just meme culture.
Indeed.
So, I think though there's only so much you can do with it in a sense because it is so rhythmic focused. And obviously you have cool people like Leo Tricks and stuff that are doing, and like Marauda, and they're doing the cool like off time, like off the grid kind of rhythms and all that. But like seeing the history of dubstep, I don't know if you guys have seen this video. I can't remember the original creator, but it's been like popping up in everybody's recommended, I feel, lately. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's this video that this UK dude made, I believe he was from the UK, and he was just talking about like his experience when like dubstep was like just emerging and like how it's changed over the years and stuff. I'm really curious where we go from here. Like, color base makes sense. And I'm not saying there isn't a hell of a lot of innovation to be done still within the genre, but it's kind of at this point where like way more people have accepted cool sound designy kind of music. So now that it's become all about the sound design, what is like the next frontier? Or is it forever going to be like associated with kind of meme culture?
I don't know, dude. When's the last time you heard an innovative big room song? It stopped. It stopped fucking happening. I hate to say it, but I do think that that's what's happened to Riddim. Not to say that you couldn't make an offshoot that is no longer what people would consider main room Riddim that would be cool. And to be fair, I've heard a lot of really good things that I would consider Riddim in like a very more modern contextual, like you said, more like offbeat stuff, or like maybe don't use the reverb and comb filters in Serum.
How dare you? How dare you?
This hot, spicy take. But yeah, I just don't, like you said, I think it's just gonna slowly fade away. Who's the I don't really know who the biggest Riddim artist is of our time, but who is the Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike of Riddim? I need to know.
Fucking Skill Rex, the boy.
Okay.
No, man, I don't know. Maybe Subtronics or somebody.
No, dude, Subtronics is no.
If we're talking
sudden death,
I mean, all right. Are we talking like OG Riddim, or are we talking what nowadays is called Riddim? Which
we're talking
big room Riddim.
Whoever in the Riddim game would pay.
Oh, did I name a small room Riddim artist?
Would pay to get to the top of the DJ Mag top 100. Like, who in Riddim would stoop to that level?
I mean, shit, when you frame it like that, man, I don't know who's huge. Like sudden death. Borgor probably has the most amount of followers and does that, but like, is he who you think of? I like Borgor, but
no, but Borgor has enough. The thing is, Borgor has done enough cool shit in the past that like I kind of give him credit for like being cool already. Even though
I love Borgor, but like I'm just thinking like who's the biggest person right now that is known as a Riddim dude? Like Skrillex
I don't know.
Has done Riddim tracks, right? And then it's like
he's not a Riddim dude though.
I googled top Riddim artists. Artists. Who's the top one though?
Oh man. Okay, give me
Subtronics came up.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna just give it to Subtronics, bro, because I feel like he at least kind of tries to innovate / associate with Riddim. So I'm gonna just give it to him.
Okay,
as far as the modern stuff goes.
I'm talking about who's the biggest sellout of Riddim. Like who's like the EDM of Riddim? Like,
I don't know.
Does it exist?
I don't know if Marshmallow did a Riddim track, right?
The thing is, like, a lot of big name artists made a big room track in their time and capitalized on the popularity of that genre. But then you have the reason I say Dimitri Vegas and like Mike, because I just like think of them as the torchbearer for like taking a cringe genre just to the fucking grave. So like who's cringing it up so hard?
Torchbearer of the fucking most loserous thing ever, you piece of shit.
Like kind of though, like no, I don't mean to be rude, but
just the way you phrased that was fucking funny. But I don't know if
maybe then
like that.
I guess that is the point then, that there is still life in this genre yet. It hasn't been taken to that point. Because the thing that happened with Big Room is it reached so much widespread popularity, and given the festival EDM scene had blown up to a point that was unsustainable at that point, where it made sense to pour so much money into being the person that you could just make cringe shit all day and like be the business that was being the top big room DJ. Like Riddim may not hit that point, and then by kind of de facto it would never really be that sellout. It would never really be that mainstream. So interesting to think about for sure.
One thing I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on now that you bring that point up, because when I think of big room house, I think of progressive house.
No.
Well, here's the thing. When I think of dubstep and I think of how much it's changed, I think of Riddim and I think of old school kind of dubstep, right? And maybe some of the more melodic stuff too. And so one thing I notice is like this trend, same with metal too. I noticed this trend where you have this style that, is more on the melodic side and then gets stripped down to playing singular notes and maybe more like atonal kind of stuff because it's arguably heavier. And then there's sort of this resurgence of melodic stuff again that like incorporates all of the new stuff from when the genre was more stripped down, I guess you could say. So the comparisons I'm drawing in my mind are like thinking of like metalcore to deathcore to now you have like gent bands that will play like low detuned, very simple shit over like nice, pretty sounding stuff. And that's kind of the result of, styles merging. Or you have like melodic dubstep and old school dubstep into Riddim, now into color bass, where color bass is very distinct from those. So I kind of see big room house the same way, where it's like you had progressive house that was just running the charts.
But when you say
popular.
Progressive house, you mean people like Avicii and that, right?
The more melodic stuff.
Yeah, because that's more like the genesis of like EDM, right? Progressive house.
But big room is very.
I'm going to be a genre EDM snob for a sec here. Progressive house is more like, I mean, Deadmau5 is closer to progressive house than like Avicii.
Zed. That's like who.
Yeah.
But Zed
is very EDM as well. Like,
I mean, that more melodic side.
Yeah.
And then Big Room came, and now you have a kick drum and a fucking percussion little dink playing at a rhythmic pace with some reverb. To me, that's the same exact shit that I saw happen in dubstep, where it's like, let's sacrifice the melodic stuff, go simpler, more rhythmic, yada yada. So yeah, I'm just curious, like, I guess I'm just throwing that up in the air and seeing kind of what you guys think about that, because I feel like genres have this tendency to like to diverge on the more like simple heavy side, and then the more like melodic side, and they kind of feed off of each other, and it kind of goes through phases where one is more popular than the other, I feel. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
No, it's you're 100% right. Like, something will develop as a genre, and the first instinct is like, this is new and exciting, let's make it as heavy as possible and get people headbanging. And then like melodic dubstep came after, like the heavier, like the wave of melodic dubstep came after the heavier wave of dubstep. I think it's the same thing with Riddim, right? It's like, it's funny because it is like the easiest, like, how do I make this different? It's like, oh, let's do melody instead of atonal comb filter wubs. Like, it does make sense, and like what you were talking about, like that would be the logical progression. I almost feel like color bass is, maybe because I don't know the genre that really very well, but it feels like more fresh and innovative than just a standard, I'm going to take this thing and make it melodic. Because I've heard melodic rhythm, and that is
different,
like very different. Color bass feels like more of like a change in like texture and scope, and like almost like an old school, like if you took the music that you listened to while playing that drift car racing game at the arcade as a kid, and then turned that into rhythm, like that's color, like Virtual Self, those types of like really fast arpeggios, and like not distorted, but like pushed, like, you know,
modern sounding.
Yeah, exactly. It feels more fresh to me. Would you agree?
Yeah. One thing, do you see the parallel? I know you say you don't listen to it too much, but between color bass and hyperpop, because I feel like they kind of embody the same-ish kind of aesthetic and feel and vibe.
Yeah, I would say so. Hyperpop is such a varied genre that I would say like some hyperpop crosses over into color bass like feel. But you know, hyperpop does feel like a lot of different things to me. Like, I couldn't really put my finger on any one thing.
So not so much the like actual attributes of the song, but more so just like the vibe that it embodies, I feel.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
And obviously very varied, like you said, but yeah, I don't know. It's all kind of kawaii, playful, jolly, very modern sounding. So I wonder if there's going to be like a now heavy version of hyperpop, and I wonder if color bass is going to take over, and then rhythm's going to take over again. It's like the battle of dark and light, or
dude. You know what's funny is, like, you know how genres are all so cyclical. Like, happy hardcore is like the OG hyperpop.
Yeah.
Like, and it, like, I don't mind that is like coming back around, like in a modern format, because it's like, although it's a very simple setup for like what makes something happy hardcore, like I have like a nostalgia associated with it, and I do think that that's not necessarily just because I heard those records when I was younger, and now I think that these new ones that sound in a similar format are cool. Like, I thought those were good in their own right back then, even though they were more like, you know, maybe you would call them lo-fi sounding. Like, they're not high fidelity and compare. Like, they didn't use the reason fucking happy hardcore became a thing is because sidechaining didn't exist, and so you had to have the kick on one beat and the bass on the other, on the upbeat, And it was like the pull of that was because you wanted a big bass note opposite the kick at a fast tempo. And that felt kind of low, like it wasn't the modern standard of what you're used to is like very not that, right? It can be like much more complex than that. But like bringing that back in, like that simplistic nature of that design of that beat, there's something to it though. There's like an energy that like simple trade-off like provides. And I do think that I appreciate the newer sounding stuff that is like doing that type of thing.
Yeah, man. Amen to simplicity. But also I love complexity. Finding that line to walk on is the thing, man. And with genres, man, I've always been like confused at what genre I'm making on shit. Like, you know, I just follow threads of inspiration. Like, oh, where's this going? And sometimes it works great, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes I envy the people who are like, I just make this thing that fits in this box so I can play that stage. And it's like, yeah, man, you're definitely playing that stage a lot, and that's badass. Well, congratulations.
You made that beat wolf whistle. That's pop trap, man. That's pop trap.
Yeah, man.
I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but I'm speaking to the point
shit, and then I'm like, I don't know what this is. Somebody else tell me what genre Venn diagram I landed in the middle of.
That was my attempt at making your point for you. I agree. Yeah, but that's where you should be. You shouldn't be like, how do I fit into this existing box to make fans understand my relevant piece of work in the eyes of things they understand? I think, especially, like, we've had this conversation a million times on this podcast, but like authenticity, right? Mm-hmm. To the grave. Especially nowadays, like if you're making stuff that fits in a box, like, yeah, it's going to check boxes for people, but like it doesn't grab you in a way that you're going to listen to it 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
You know, and I think today, if you want to break through the noise, you have to do something that's different enough that makes people want to listen to it 10 times in a row. Fun fact: if you have a song on Spotify that people listen to on average 3 times or more per listener, that song's going to pop the fuck off. So you want something that people are like, whoa, this was different. Like, let me hit that one again. And how you get there is by sitting down to write a song and letting that song take you where it's going to go, rather than like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't fit in this box or this box. I don't think people will get it. Like, no, just do it. Does it sound good? Cool. Move on.
Amen. Yeah, I think genres are useful in the sense that there's a reason these characteristics work with each other, and why people have kind of categorized these few characteristics as like being the requisites for a genre. But like at the end of the day, it's just there to kind of set the guideline. But you know, I saw a video this morning where a dude was making 128 BPM Riddim, and it was very interesting. And I think the only reason that, 128 BPM house and 140 to 150 BPM Riddim are as separate entities as they are and as well defined as they are is just because a bunch of people have arbitrarily all kind of made these moves that fall into the same kind of category or intent. And just through sheer amount of content, it gets made its own genre. But if everybody this year produced 128 BPM Riddim, that could spawn its own subgenre, which spawns 5 more subgenres, which one of them ends up being the next Big Room House / Riddim. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the rabbit hole goes infinitely deep for each little aspect of this. And just because people have congregated to some specific characteristics doesn't mean there's any less value in taking all the other stuff. It's just now you don't have a roadmap exactly what to do.
Yeah. Well, you saying that reminded me of something that I think might wrap up this conversation nicely, which is a quote that I heard from AU5 in a podcast he did, which was, the thing that excites him the most is the fact that there are limitless things for him to explore in the context of sound, or like not necessarily genre, but just like things to explore that you could take deeper, that he knows of or doesn't know of, but he knows for a fact that there is a limitless combination of things that he could take deeper. And I think that that is really the key, having that mindset rather than what we already talked about, which is like Riddim is nearing the exterior of its box and that's it, right? Continuing to have the mindset that there are infinite possibilities and limitless options for you the rabbit hole is infinitely deep, and believing that and exploring how deep that rabbit hole goes in any direction is where you find the best stuff.
That rabbit hole is insane.
Dude, that rabbit hole is insane.
Take 2 clicks down that rabbit hole, my friends.
2 clicks and it's perfect in the rabbit hole.
Man, woo! Love that quote. Brilliant way to sum it all up.
Let's close it out there. Peace, humans, and peace among worlds. Yeet.
I like it.
All right, what a good one. Thanks for being with us. And now I want to ask, humans, how are you doing? Please put a comment under one of the places you may be watching or listening to this. And remember to subscribe, like, smash all those buttons, drop a comment, all those good things. Follow us on Twitter at Human Music Pod, or everywhere else like Instagram at The Human Music Podcast. Holler at us over there. And make sure to go support our sponsors, the Producer Dojo, where you can get that Dojo Max membership, private lessons, unlimited track feedback, and access to Illgate's weekly download archive. Guest practices, where you can learn from Seth Drake at the Approach Institute. He's the best engineer we know, and the first guest practices class is free. And Gvngaroo Records music distribution, where you can get all your tunes to all the stores and services for under $10 a year. Get it. Those links are down below. I'm Luke Rain, saying peace and peace among worlds.